Happy Valentine's Day. Starting off, everybody, we have so much love for our audience and for our community that we just wanted to put a show on no matter what the day is. I would also like to mention that this show is sponsored by DNS Thingy. We will be discussing them a little later on in the show. And with me today, I have a fantastic panel of guests. And I would like to start off by introducing Arthur, who some of you will remember from last week. Arthur?
Hey everyone, how's it going?
Excellent.
Yeah. 3 more words.
Exactly. Succinct. I love it. And next we have a new face to the show, Leanne. Say hello to the audience.
Hello, audience. My name is Leanne. For the nerds that are participating, I think the majority of you know who I am. I've certainly been with the company long enough. I celebrated 3 years last week, so really excited about that. Thank you. And yeah, I'm, as most of you know, I am my official title is Client Value Facilitator, but I'm all things sales and focus on solution selling to our clients. And I manage the sales side and some support side on our Canadian Tire, which is by far one of our largest corporate clients. So really excited to be a part of that vertical. And I also manage and handle the Vibranetics phone solution data vertical as well. So just wanted to say thank you for the invite, and I'm very happy to be part of the panel this evening.
Well, we are absolutely thrilled to have you. And next up, we have a returning friendly face. David, say hello.
Hello everybody, David here. Lucky guy, started with John Harperenko, this little company 22 years ago, and still wake up every day loving it.
So we like to hear. All right. Continuing to love it even week after week after week. After year after year after year. It just keeps going. And last, but certainly not least, we have our special guest. I'm going to keep using that term. Charlie, say hello to the audience.
Hi, guys and ladies. I want to say that I've been in love with this guy, Redekop, before Nerds on Site. He was the one that I bought my personal computers from. And when he told me that he was, getting together with a buddy and starting a company with a name like Nerds on Site, I was very impressed, and been hanging around once a month or so ever since. And it's a little more often now that I'm what is it? Capability expansion. Why don't I remember that? For heaven's sakes.
You know what? We can help with that. There's a feature in this app that allows you to put your title at the bottom.
Oh,
that way you can just look at this.
You can just read it.
Remember who you are. Yeah.
That'll help.
Yeah,
That'll
I
help.
was telling them earlier that I love this author of a book who I can't remember her son's children's name or son's names. So
Right.
her book title is actually called "My Son, What's His Name?"
My mother, I'm the oldest of 6. She would go through all of our names before she'd finally come up with mine or any of the other kids. She literally sought each and every one of us our name, and she would find us last. It would always be the 6th one she called out. Just amazing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Well, with this fantastic panel, we are going to have a great show ahead of us. We've got a lot of things to discuss, and I want to make sure that we get to everything. Last thing we want is for anything to slip through the cracks. So with that being said, we're going to jump right into our first segment of the show. Most of you who are returning will be familiar with it. This is our segment called Are You Smarter Than a Nerd in 5th Grade? And I'll just explain the show really quick for anyone who hasn't seen the show before. Basically, I am going to provide a question to you, the audience, and you, the audience, writes in to the YouTube chat. If you are having difficulties doing so, make sure to sign into your YouTube account. And if you don't have a YouTube account, just make one. Takes no time at all. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out, helps everyone out. It's amazing. So with that being said, I'm going to read out the skill testing question in a moment here. If you know the answer, type it in the chat. The first person to respond with the correct answer will be the one to win a prize. And we're going to discuss the prize a little later on in the show. All right. So with that being said, here comes the question. Is everybody ready? Oh, and because we've had this before, people on the show cannot guess the answer. It's for the audience only. I know you guys want that prize, but all right, here we go. Today, we think love resides in our heart. However, in medieval times, which internal organ was sometimes believed to cause love? This is no small matter. So I'm going to repeat that one more time. Today, we think love resides in the heart. However, in medieval times, which internal organ was sometimes believed to cause love? So if you know the answer, if you know what organ was believed to cause love in medieval times, write that in the chat, and I'll be keeping an eye out, and the first person will win the prize. All right, and next, we're actually going to discuss really a huge focus of the show, something that's very near and dear to all of our hearts, and that is iwanttobeanerd.com. So for those of you who have been returning week after week, you may look at us and you've heard the stories, you've heard people tell about why they love working for Nerds on Site so much, because it's not just a business for yourself, or it is business going to business for yourself, but not by yourself, not alone. You have people, you have a support staff, you have friends, colleagues with you to help you. And this week we actually have a special video, which David's going to present to us now.
That'd be a prop right as I'm about to start, right? Is it coming through now? Is it coming through?
Yep.
It is, yep.
It's that time again. Your IT guy is leaving, and it's time to find a replacement. What about that guy you interviewed last week? He might work in a pinch. Or not. There was that one guy on LinkedIn. He seemed experienced, which means more money. You'd hate to pay for all his time when things are running smoothly, and that should be most of the time, right? At least he's always there for those unexpected issues. Oh. On second thought, maybe not a full-time hire. What about an on-demand tech guy? The feeling of watching your workers not work while you're trying and failing to get a hold of the guy that'll fix the problem. There has to be another way. And the good news is, there is. Nerds on Site is an enterprise-level IT team that partners with any size business to keep your tech running smoothly. We'll make sure you're set up with the right tech for your company's needs from the get-go.
It's just so efficient.
You'll have a primary nerd who will oversee everything, and you'll also have access to 24/7 support and management. These nerds work together to prevent problems from happening, not just fix them. Nerds on Site has over 20 years of experience in the IT industry and the shared expertise of hundreds of nerds around the world. You have a need, we have a nerd. All this for less than what you'd spend if you hired one of these guys. With Nerds on Site, you get a proactive IT partner who will help you make your business as successful as it can be. So whether you're thinking of hiring your fourth IT person or your first, we'd love to chat. Contact us to get started on your free technology assessment today.
There you
So
go.
there you go.
It's about as what a fantastic video. First of all, I love that video, and it really does sort of highlight all the benefits of, you know, from a customer perspective of why to go with Nerds on Site. And if you as an audience member is looking, like, you think, man, that looks like fun. I like tech. I like helping people out. I like solving problems. I want you to check out iwanttobeanerd.com. The link, you can see it. It's actually listed right below us here on the overlay. So if you're watching the video, look slightly below Charlie and Arthur to be able to see that web address. Perfect. So without much further ado, I'd like to open up to our main discussion panel. Every show we sort of do this really sort of a roundtable discussion where I'm going to take a back seat and let my amazing panel sort of conduct the conversation. And we're actually going to get David to sort of begin the conversation, and everybody's just going to join in as they see fit. David, you appear to have...
Oh,
there
sorry.
you go.
I know. Me and my keyboard shortcuts, right? Earlier, I caught myself. Actually, the team caught me. I was yelling upstairs to make sure the kids were in bed. I thought I had muted myself. So I'm so sorry, Leanne, Arthur, and Will. Oh my gosh, earphone. Now you know exactly how lovingly I speak to my children. Anyway, but so now I'm trigger happy, and I'm muted when I'm not, and vice versa. Anyway, so obviously none of us on this panel are out on a Valentine's Day right now, and in our part of the world it is date time. It's 8 o'clock in the evening, right? But no, there's a real reason for it. I think it's a big scam. The whole thing is a scam.
Valentine's Day?
Valentine's Day is a scam. That's what my wife says too. She says, "Don't you dare buy a single thing on Valentine's Day. It's a commercial scam." All right, but for real, I'm sure you guys all came across these warnings about the FBI warning of online romance scams ahead of Valentine's Day. Come to think of it, should we have covered this last week? Not when people have already been scammed, possibly today? Why wasn't I thinking? Anyway, it's very real when you think about it. If you're in the business of being a bad actor, right, you're going to create and craft messaging that's going to get people's attention to click. So this is just something we wanted to share and remind everybody that anytime there's a topic du jour, there's going to be bad actors looking to get your attention at the same time. So there's lots of content around, how the scams work, how they operate, and there's even an app for that. Like, it's just amazing how much there is by way of resources. In fact, if you're a bad guy, you can actually get tips on how to scam effectively on each holiday. Like, that is how commoditized this has gotten. So
it's a business.
It is a
business. Yeah, I find it fascinating, and I'm going to admit something, on YouTube and to the panel is I've watched a few of Dr. Phil's shows where they talk about, I believe it's called catfishing? Catfishing, right? Catfished. And it's very sad because, they go to, I must say, I am impressed with the fact that, Dr. Phil's team does spend a lot of time investigating, and they have proof that there is a scam, and there's always the person who's being scammed and their family members. And over the course of the show, they will present various proof why it's a scam, you're being scammed. They'll show the same type of language being used to all other people. And eventually at the very end of the show, usually the person admits that they realize that they've been scammed. And it's very sad because it's more about losing, some of it, like people are, losing hundreds of thousands of dollars, their retirement, they're putting second mortgages on their home, but it's just a loss of self and dignity. And I just find it such a sad, it's very sad. And, the world is the world, and there's going to be people, like you say, it's a business to take advantage of that. But it's always, and it's usually the profile is very similar to the people that do get catfished, And I read very quickly, David, the first website that you put on screen, which said, "I wasn't desperately lonely. I just wanted someone to talk to." And I think that's a form of loneliness, but it is. I find it fascinating, and that you would give hundreds of thousands of dollars to somebody. And don't get me wrong, I always look for the good in people, and you want to believe. But when you've got someone asking you for a lot of money, you never see them. Things just aren't adding up. It's very tragic. I find it a very tragic part of the tech part of our society.
Yeah. Wow. No kidding.
I think it's even, especially, given that this is sort of a tech podcast, a tech show, how do you guys feel about the sort of like not only the prevalence, but the necessity of technology and online dating today? I mean, I'm very, very lucky that I've managed to, find the girl that I've spent many, many years with now. But a lot of my friends, a lot of people I know, they spend all of their time, it's either on Tinder or Plenty of Fish or OkCupid. There's all these dating sites. And how do you feel, just off the cuff? Because I know I think everyone here has, been married or with their partner for a long time. But how do you feel that technology plays a part in it? Do you think it's a benefit to society? Do you think it's a benefit to people? Or do you think it detracts from the old way that you would meet people and form these relationships?
Well, I certainly have some thoughts.
Please go ahead.
I've got 4 children. I don't know how many of them used technology, but I know one for sure did, and to remarkably positive effect. We now, instead of 4, we have 8 children. We have no idea if they decided to split, and it will never happen. we're not even sure who we go with, for heaven's sakes. We just absolutely adore the choices they've made. And I'm one who is certainly from an era where, you know, eye to eye, head to head, knee to knee, heart to heart is the way to get to know a person. And when I was young, letters were, that was stock and trade. If you were good at wordsmithing, and me being an agoraphobic, I was a letter writer. And at one point in time, I'm not admitting this with any pride, but there were 11 girls writing me while I was in university, and I was writing them for every one they sent. I was writing 2. I was really quite talented at putting together immediate conversational thoughts on paper, and it caused people to respond. I began in business writing all the contracts in conversational language as a result as well. And, you know, I'm touching wood as I say this, it didn't work out too badly for me. But technology has leveraged so many arenas of our life. It is becoming, I believe, a crutch, as all good things can become. Not just bad things, but good things too can become crutches in people's lives. And I think we'd be better served personally, just me, if we had, I'm desperate to try and push worldwide a heads up day where no one's allowed to look down onto plastic screens or glass screens or whatever. Like everybody has to walk heads up, talk heads up, eat heads up, drive heads up, the works. I don't know that would ever come about, but I'm still going to push that dream. And I believe once a month, it wouldn't be a bad idea for us to do so either. If we were in the habit of once a week, setting aside our smart devices, our online devices, we might get back to if we all did it at the same time in whatever grouping, social group or family group we have, we might find new ways to synaptic connect in the ways of yesteryear that weren't that bad, right? You had to be a good conversationalist. And I'm not taking anything away from the talent of people with their shortcuts and their initials, and it's just remarkable to me. But there is a good deal to be said for that art of listening, which the best communicators tend to have as a skill. And that requires silent behavior, right? LISTEN, SILENT. It's linked on purpose. And I think it's hard for us to be silent with those devices sitting right there within arm's reach so we can see new little dots and dashes on a screen. There's a place for it. It's just one of those things. If we could find a way to get to a balanced arena on the life front, on the communication front, and it's all tied to privacy as well. There's an awful lot of me out there that I don't want out there, and I try my very best not to share on purpose, because privacy to me is still a valued asset. So I know it's against perhaps the wave, but there's value, I think, in off time, not downtime, off time. Mm-hmm. So that you're just literally looking to the person beside you and across from you and building verbal bridges with your
Charlie, there's this guy who did a video in Britain where he's just taking our online process, referring to the Tinder swipe left and right, and basically saying, instead of doing that, I'm just going to ask total random girls out on a date. I don't know if that's the video I was about to share. It's 6 minutes. You'll find it. And so really? so basically it draws attention to how crazy we have become to do what we do online but in the real world, we don't do that, right?
Do you
yeah.
Is this a short video, David, that you can
It's
share? It
6
sounds so funny.
Well, what we'll do,
It's 6 minutes long. We don't
Oh,
have time
okay.
for it right now.
yeah,
But
what we
I'm
can
gonna have
do,
to check it out.
we'll be,
The title-
and for the audience, we'll be sharing it in the description
good.
after the
Yeah,
show as
good.
well.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. I don't know, Charlie. I mean, when I heard 11, that's a fan club. Like, you had yourself a fan club.
I would-
11?
Look,
Anything
yeah,
over 5's
yeah.
a fan club. So
this was right
congrats.
after I left the seminary. My first year. I mean, the discovery of women in my life was absolutely overwhelming. And to this very day, it is still the most remarkable aspect of the human condition for men anyway. I just can't believe it that we're lucky enough to share space and time with women.
Yeah.
I was shocked that they wrote me back. I mean, literally. And a year later, I went back to the same college, and the proctor on my floor said, "Regan, come here." He took me to his room. He opened up a drawer, and there were letters. He said, "They just kept coming." We had no way to get in touch with him. You didn't know where you were.
Wow. They're like the Santa Claus of romance, Charlie. All
Oh,
those
my
letters, bags coming in, getting more than the North Pole.
When I got engaged to Jackie, she was the only girl that I ever asked to marry me. When I got engaged to Jackie, I got rid of all the letters, and there was a trunk because I kept them. I just considered them, gold.
Did you burn them? Was it like a forest fire?
No, I just put in the green garbage bag. Well, not a green garbage, just a garbage can.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you talk to people today about that, and it's really, but that was the deal.
It's an art. No, I believe letter writing is an art. Most people, I think, would agree to that. It is an art form.
Mhm.
And it's become an art form.
I got a Valentine's Day card from my wife today that I was shocked at how rich and such a high reputation to live up to that she had given me in this card. And she has this talent of doing the same thing, being able to capture and then put into words, almost in a prose manner. So,
Well, look at that, Arthur. Arthur was worried that we picked a topic that we couldn't possibly talk about, and it's going to be our longest show yet.
I know. I was like, I've been,
Matters of the heart.
this is where I have the hardest job as the host because I'm sitting here like, oh man, I love this discussion. I don't want to cut anyone off, but we gotta keep moving.
Feel free to cut me off anytime.
All right. Well, with that being said, I want to actually take this moment to jump in on something that actually happened a little while ago, relative to last week in particular. We've got some smart people in the chat this evening because the answer to the question, which I'll repeat real quick for those of you who missed it earlier, already gave us our correct answer, I think even before we began the discussion. So, once again, for those who missed it before, the question was, today, we think love resides in the heart. However, in medieval times, which internal organ was sometimes believed to cause love? And the answer, as Chris Rose pointed out, is the liver. Now,
Really?
the liver, yeah.
Wow.
So, Chris, we will be contacting you a little later regarding your prize. And thank you so much for paying attention. And not only paying attention, but knowing the answer. Well done. Well done. indeed.
Congratulations,
He went on
Chris.
Google. He Googled that.
Doesn't matter.
That's one thing with technology today. There doesn't need to be a residence upstairs for knowledge because it's there at your fingertips, right?
Exactly. As long as you know those Boolean formulas, that's all you need.
Even the HQ Live app went offline, right? Because people wrote AI engines to listen to the question and respond fast. I couldn't believe it.
My God.
I mean, HQ had a way of asking questions that you couldn't easily Google. You had to ask 3 questions with three separate queries and then draw a conclusion, right? And you only had 10 seconds in which to do it.
Yeah.
So it was believed that it was not going to be cheatable, and yet people found a way to cheat even then.
It's always how it works. The minute someone comes up with a problem, someone comes up with 6 solutions.
That's
Yeah.
right.
We're an
right.
inventive race.
Yeah.
So since we have our winner already decided, I'm going to rearrange the back here of the podcast just a little bit here. So I'd like actually to take a second to get David to explain not only what the prize is, but just a little bit about the company that's offering the prize.
Yeah, absolutely. So the prize is this beauty of a router. It's an Asus router that's flashed with our firmware. We basically take the best of prosumer grade routers out there and make it even better with DNS Thingy by giving the owners of internet connections the ability to shape their traffic any which way they want. So you want to put devices on schedule so that kids can't browse YouTube until midnight, or you want to force them to a safety mode, or force Google and Bing into safe search mode to cut out all the really, really bad stuff. These are the types of things that you can do with a router that has the smarts from DNS Thingy. There we go.
Fantastic. I love it. And so, Chris, once again, we will be contacting you regarding the prize. And with that being said, we got to keep this show moving. The discussion was very heartfelt, as is fitting for Valentine's Day, but stretched a little long. So with that being said, I'd like to actually jump into one of probably my favorite segments of the show. This is called Tip of the Week, where we get one of our fantastic panelists to come in with a tip, and it can range from general to specific, but the thing is, no matter what the tip is, you will find it amazing. You will find it helpful, and you'll find it useful. So sharing the tip of the week with us this week is our very own Leanne. So Leanne, spread your knowledge out to the world.
Thank you, Will. So keeping into the theme of the day, which is Valentine's Day, I thought it would be interesting if I spent a little bit of time doing some research on how technology has changed love and how we love. And I just thought it would be appropriate because we are a technology-driven company. And what I discovered, and I listened to TED Talks and just found is, heard from psychiatrists, psychologists, all of that, did a lot of research. And what was really interesting was all of the studies proved that what has changed about how we love is how we communicate. So we're going to come full circle with what Charlie was talking about was, technology has changed how we court in terms of communication. But what it hasn't changed is how we love and who we love. And I guess what I've discovered was that you can change an algorithm on a search engine, but it doesn't change the algorithm of the brain, because what they figured out is that as soon as you get in front of somebody, so whether you meet them, if you meet them on an app and then you meet them in a bar, you completely, your whole how you communicate and how you react to somebody is the same as they did 100,000 years ago. So what our ancestors were doing 100,000 years ago, meeting in a cave over a brontosaurus beef burger, is no different than meeting at milestones on date night. And I found that fascinating because I can tell you, I've always wondered, has it really changed? And who we are, who we love, and it doesn't. The matters of the heart still remain the same. So getting quite quickly into my tip of the week is, do I think, as Charlie said, maybe we should put the phone down sometime and have a face-to-face, or like his lovely wife Jackie did, go out and buy a card. I guess my tip of the week is that we're still safe. We're still not completely and utterly changed by technology and how we love and who we love. It's just how we communicate.
Fantastic. Yeah. And you too can also go to, whether you're still dating or been married for years and years, you can still go to Milestones and get that brontosaurus beef burger. It is on the menu. Maybe.
That's right.
Perfect. Well, that is a brilliant tip, and one that I think really, really resonates with, again, with
and
the
another
theme.
tip too, Will, is that their peach bellinis are really, really good at Milestones.
See, now there's
That's
a tip
another
that
tip.
I can use.
Have
Absolutely.
a peach bellini.
Wow, they're not even sponsors.
Yeah, there we go.
They're not.
That's amazing.
Milestones
Heck,
is
I'm
coming
having
out
one
ahead.
after this show now.
Hey,
See
there
ya.
you go. That sounds like a Valentine's celebration to me. All right. And with that being said, with love in our hearts, love in your hearts, audience, we are going to wrap up and end the show. So I do want to say a couple of quick words before we close out. First of all, again, if you are interested in becoming a nerd, if you want to be part of the team, part of the community, go to iwanttobeanerd.com. Again, the address is down below. Everybody point down right now. That's where you find that link. It's right below the window here. Exactly. Follow that link. Learn all about it. Become the change. Work, again, work for yourself, but not by yourself. It's a huge, huge factor that fits into one tiny little sentence, and it's so important. And with that being said, from myself, Leanne, Arthur, David, and Charlie, we thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we will see you again next week. Once again, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, youtube.com/nerdsonsite.
See ya.
Happy
Thanks, everybody.
Valentine's Day. Sending
you,
nerd
Becky.
love everywhere. Bye.
Go on a date with someone you love.
That's right. Listen to Charlie.